Let me follow up with you. You've been involved in some big programs, education initiatives in the region. Tennessee Achieves, Project Grad, and you've spoken a little bit about that in your remarks here with us this morning. But I want you to think, rather than think big, I want you to think small, and do so in the following sense. What does the classroom do? What does a single elementary school or a single middle school or high school do? Perhaps complementing those bigger programs, but also perhaps in communities where they simply don't have the resources or the broad-based support to make those big projects work. So in other words, something that a parent could do, a business person could do, a school teacher could do, and in that small setting have a big impact on education.
Well, that's another great question. That's the problem with Matt, he just keeps asking me real hard, great questions. The single most important thing I think each of us can do in our neighborhood school is help support the teachers that are in that school. Most of them are going to be very, very fine. One of the reasons Common Core was such a positive step forward for Tennessee, and trust me, I was there back before Common Core, working in the education field, and we had some of the lowest standards in the nation, and you don't want to go back to that. Common Core for southern states was a huge step forward. And by going from 200 standards in a course to maybe 45 or 50, you're freeing up teachers to be more creative and innovative in how they do instruction. If we can support those teachers in that classroom level to teach that way, to these new, higher, more rigorous standards, which are working, we're seeing the progress, I think we can get from where we are to where we know we need to be. Matt, I think volunteering at your school, parents. Get engaged at your school. Becoming a Tennessee Achieves mentor. There are all kinds of ways each of us can do this. And I'm absolutely, after last week when we got these numbers back, I'm actually believing we can get where we want to go, which is, you know, Memphis is famous for barbecue and the blues, big deal. Nashville is famous for country music. You know, let's make East Tennessee famous for something that really matters and is going to have a spectacular impact on the future of our region and our children, and that's school. So you can do it at the local school level, support those teachers, thank those teachers, volunteer in the classroom, and don't listen to these people that are trying to tell you to get rid of the Common Core. I'm going to tell you that is the worst thing we can do right now.
You're in trouble now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Big old balls out.
All right. We're going to wind it down here. I've got a closer question for the panel. We'll have a few minutes for questions. I know I saw some cards being passed to our attendants, for lack of a better phrase. So if you have any questions, if you'd like to jot them down on the card that was in your folder, please do so now. So my closer question to the panel is, Planning T is all about the future and all of us committing to trying to pursue a better future for the community. So what are you folks committed to doing as individuals or from a business perspective to help us realize this stronger vision for our community, and what help do you need along the way? Matt, I'll start with you.
Well, like I said, as a young business, 10 months old, our business plan is to continue to grow and foster relationships with our local farms. And we're staying that course, obviously. And I think the benefit of that is the stronger local farms we have, healthier, I think, over time, healthier people, more exposure to children who hopefully will develop some better habits. The farmer's market food's not processed. You know, it's really whole food. It's really good for you. So we're committed to that, and we there's not a number, there's not a percentage of how much is going to be sourced locally, but we're just striving to continue on that path, and there's no reason that won't continue to grow. I think we're continuing to be better in that regard. But farmers need support, not just from restaurants. The community needs to continue to support the farmers as well.
Thank you, Matt. Stephanie?
So personally, and also as a company, I'm really committed to volunteering in the community, and I know a lot of our employees are. So we actually have an 85% participation rate in our volunteerism program here in Knoxville, which I think is fantastic. And being able to
give back program, is that what it's
yeah, so it's actually, we call it cafe time. So it's community action for employees. And so we actually provide every employee with up to 52 hours a year to be able to go out and volunteer during their work hours. And that's really something that our employees value. And they've even given, us feedback that it's something that they really enjoy about their job. And that kind of sets Green Mountain Coffee Roasters apart as an employer. And that they feel, at the end of the day, they feel really good that they're able to give back to the community. And so it's something that, Buzz has touched on about us volunteering at schools and education, or, not just in education, but there's so many different ways that you can give back to your community. And I think that being able to tap into that, the power of partnership and people and working together, and as far as kind of what you were talking about before as being disconnected from our communities, is that while people are here in Knoxville, if they're able to volunteer here, that's going to really tie them back to the community and feel more invested in the community. And if you're more invested, then you're a lot more interested in all of the other things that are going on in a place like Knoxville. So I think that's really personally what I can focus on and making an impact here is encouraging our employees to keep doing that and giving back. So.
Buzz?
First of all, isn't Green Mountain Coffee a great role model for everybody? I just love it. Love the stuff they're doing with their money, with their time, with their employees, with their product. And it is good coffee. We drink it in our office too, man. It's good coffee. The thing that I think I can do and that we can do going forward is if I look out here and I see Blount County. Blount Countyans already have figured out that they need a foundation to help their schools go from good to great. Maryville City Schools Foundation, Blount County, Alcoa, Anderson County, I'm betting you have something like this, but it might Union County, I'm not sure if you do, but I'll leave a few brochures up here about how we're doing it in Knoxville through the Great Schools Partnership, and I would be happy to be part of a kind of ongoing conversation with our private sector partners to help our schools go from good to great. So that would be one thing going forward, because your school system needs your help to get there, trust me. They can't get there on their own. That's why we call them public schools. But by working together, I think we saw last week, we can make this thing happen.
The common theme in all this, thank you, Buzz, is that there are folks willing to help. And I think that's the same point that I was trying to make in my introductory comments about cooperating and collaboration. It is our desire to help one another within the community. And the little things that we each do as worker bees, as parents, as employers, whatever role we play, each of those little helps along the way will make this a much stronger place. So we have a few minutes. You want me to read these? That means I got to find my classes. See, if I was under 40, I'd be able to do this. The panel has been, I'm going to try to, it's written in cursive and not well. Sorry, whoever said, I shouldn't have said that. The panel has been talking mostly about Knoxville. What can and must we do to advance the surrounding areas? For example, bringing community schools to small towns. We've touched a little bit on this, but it is a bit Knox-centric. I'm from Blount County. But it is a different world outside the area, the environments that we're in right now. So what can we do for the rural places, or even in Knoxville, the places that look, at least on face value, as being more rural?
One thing that, I'll just say this one thing, and then I'll defer to Stephanie and Matt for anything else they want to say. But as I just said, I have gone to a lot of our rural areas and met with their school board people and their chamber people and their foundation people to help them build something similar to what we've done here in Knoxville. So I was just down at Roane County about 6 or 8 weeks ago, and I spent a day down there with them talking about how we turn their local ed fund into a powerful change agent to help their school system go from good to great, to start a community school. So if you're out there in Union County or wherever, or Anderson County, and you want to talk about that, in fact, I've got the mayor of Claiborne County and a state senator coming down this week to talk about how they might do it in Claiborne County. We'll be happy to work with you and help you kind of figure out how you build something like this in your community.
Anything else to add?
You know, we have employees that live outside Knox County, a lot of employees. So, at least from what I hear from them, is that they're always looking for ways that they can give back to their local community and not just here in Knoxville. That's something that, just because of where we're located, I focus on as far as, volunteers and opportunities go and things like that. But one feedback that they gave when we were setting up our grant making program is they wanted us to focus on the more rural areas. So we've, been able to invest in a couple of grants, in some of the more rural Appalachian areas as far as education goes, but also really kind of creating community leaders to help lead local initiatives in their area. And one of the programs in particular has been pretty successful in, taking people that are interested in taking a leadership role in their community and, bringing more jobs to their community and help giving them the skills to be able to do that, so that, then they can take those skills and help share those and teach others in their area. So,
I think on a very small scale, almost every farmer that I purchase from the farmer's market is from a rural area. And so by hopefully giving some stability to the farmers through some consistent purchasing and things like that, if they can have stability and keep the family farm going and prosper, and take that money back to their communities, hopefully can have that security so that they can be a part of that rural community.
Very good. We're almost out of time, so I'm going to ask this last question, and we're going to do speed responses here, quick response from the panel if you have them. And I think this is important. What role does the faith community and the churches play in the conversation that we're having today about Plan ET, about the future of our region?
I'd say a huge role, particularly in things like I mentioned about community schools. I'll just use Lonsdale as an example. We've got a community school at Lonsdale. They've got more than 30 neighborhood partners, and I would bet that at least a third of those partners are faith-based organizations, local churches, and other organizations like Emerald Youth that are here working. And that's a great untapped resource in many, many communities for good in your community, and great partnership opportunities for schools, tutoring, mentoring, all kinds of things that church folk can do, and folks at other faith communities to help us create great schools.
I think that they have a large role, especially when it comes to wanting to give back to the community and investing in the community and being out there and volunteering, and also setting up those organizations that will be places for people to come and receive services if they're in need, maybe addressing kind of that that poverty issue, and it's places for people to go as well. So.
All right. Well, please help me give our panelists a warm round of applause.